Hello, my name is Ms. Zepps, and today's video lesson is going to be about a story entitled Moving Around on the Rides. Moving around on the rides, okay? All right, you can see that here is our book cover here, and we're going to be learning about some important and fun things today, okay? So as always, we always start our lesson by talking about our objective. And we always talk about the materials that you're going to need, okay? So let's do that. Okay, so we can see here we have another picture of some rides here, and let's go over our objective, okay? So it says here, I will describe how amusement parks ride. So you're going to be describing how amusement parks ride, okay? So what you're going to need is a paper, pencil, and a copy of today's story. So if you look under the video lesson link, you will see that that's where your materials are, and any other additional information that I feel that's necessary for you to have, I'll provide a link for you right there, okay? So as always, before we begin any story, we want to talk about the words that you're going to see in that story, okay? So let's do that. So if you look right here, let's get our little trusty pen. You will see that we have some topic words, okay? And this is where I want you to focus. All right. So that being said, I'm going to say the word, and you can say the word after me. And that will make it easier for you to remember them. And what I want you to do today, I want you to do two things after this lesson is completed. I want you to put these words in alphabetical order, and I want you to circle them in your story. I think that will be fun to do. You can circle them with a colored marker. You can highlight them, whatever you feel that I would want to do, okay? Because I want you to remember these words. All right, so let's do it. Move, slow, fast, up, down, spin, around, fun, scared. So now if you have your copy of today's story handy, as we read the story, be on the lookout for these words, okay? Underline them, and like I said, you can highlight them if you wish to do so, okay? So be on the lookout for those words. And don't forget to add them to your vocabulary list. I know you have a long list by now because we've gone over a lot of words, okay? All right, let's get started. And before we get started with our reading, we're going to do an activity, okay? And it's called Standards Connection A. Standards Connection A, okay? And we start by talking about what is the title of this chapter. So if we look back over here, what is the title of this chapter? Moving Around on the Rides. So let's type that right there. All right, and it says, what do you think this chapter will be about? So let's look at it. What do you think this chapter is going to be about? Did you say it's going to be about rides, or maybe it's going to be about going to an amusement park? We're going to have to read and find out, are we not? Okay. All right. So this is a chapter book. And what kind of chapter book is this? What kind of chapter book is this? Okay. Is it a nonfiction chapter book, or is it is it a fiction chapter book, or is it a nonfiction? Now, before we even determine which one it is, we need to review what a fiction book and a nonfiction book are, right? Okay. All right. So if we talk about fiction, we're talking about books that are imaginary. or made up, okay? They are not real, okay? When you look at the pictures in the book, you will see illustrations, okay? Most of the times you'll see illustrations. So with just those few facts that we know about, let's take a look at this book. What do we see here? Now we see some photos here, but let's go through our story. Now what do we see? And we see a mixture of photos and but we have mostly illustrations, okay? So this is probably a fiction story, okay? All right. Now, what is the chapter topic? Would it be a biography, social studies, or science? Now, we know a biography is about one person, but what do we see here? We see many people, right? So we know it's not a biography. Okay, now it's talking about amusement park. Okay, so it says something here about rides, right? If we go back and look, let's get to it a little bit quicker. Okay, so if we see this here, when we have some people on this particular ride here, there's going to be some socializing going on, right? On a ride. So that being said, this must be centered around social studies because in science we don't study that social element as much as we do in social studies. Okay, in science we're talking about living things and plants and animals and stuff like that. Okay, all right, so it says compare this book to a chapter book that has been recently read. Now, you know, when we compare things, we talk about what? The similarities and the differences, okay? And we talk about the things that we know about that book. So if we think about this, if I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to compare this book to a book that I've recently read, okay? So I recently read a book on DNA and genes. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to type it all in here, but if not, we're just going to talk through it, okay? So I read a book about DNA and genes, okay? This book is about rides, and I'm going to make it short because I know that I may not be able to type the whole thing out there, but we know it's about rides. Now the difference is one book is about DNA, which was centered around like science ideas. This book is about rides. That's a huge difference, okay? A huge difference. Now, if we think about the similarities between the DNA and genes and this book on rides, both books had people in it, okay? Both books had people in it, all right? So in this particular area here, we can see that that's how they are similar, okay? All right, now, moving on, let's see what we have down here at the bottom. So it says, what kind of book would you choose? Would you choose a picture book, chapter books, comic books, or book with facts? Now that's how I'm going to choose a picture books because actually, now I'm not a fan of comic books. I didn't grow up on reading those, but picture books, chapter books, and book with facts, I like all of those books. Okay, there's nothing wrong with a comic book now. Okay, it's just what you like. So I want you to point to the particular book that you would like. Okay. Okay, all right, guys. That's enough to get us warmed up, and now let's get going. All right. So now we're going to talk about our story, and don't forget our objective, right? Our objective is I will describe how amusement park rides move, okay? So don't forget that objective, okay? And just in case if Mrs. Epps forgets to talk about it, don't forget to discuss it with your parent, okay? Don't forget to discuss that objective with your parent, all right? Okay, I want you to listen very carefully to what is being said in the book because you're going to answer some questions about the book at the end of after we finish reading the book together. Moving around on the rides. All right, the Kinder family walks to the Ferris wheel. It is very big and tall. Near the Ferris wheel are other rides too. Amusement park rides move in different ways. Some rides move slow, others move fast. I'm ready to ride the Ferris wheel, says Jim. All right, now we always have a focus question here at the bottom. I'm going to make the screen bigger so that you can see what the focus question says. It says, what types of rides do the kinders see near the Ferris wheel? Think about that for a second. What type of rides did they see? So if we look here, we see here they said there's a Ferris wheel, right? And it says near the Ferris wheel there are other rides, all other rides too, okay? And they say we have amusement park rides move in different ways, right? Some rides move slow and some move fast. All right? Okay, moving on. The Kinder family gets in line for the Ferris wheel. The ride is a lot different than the roller coaster, says Gwen. You are right, says Mr. Kinder. A roller coaster can move very fast. Ferris wheels move slow. Roller coasters move up and down hills. Ferris wheels do not. Okay? So let's see what our focus question says at the bottom. It says, how does a Ferris wheel move differently than a roller coaster? Think about it for a second. Okay, if we notice right here, Ferris wheels move slow, and then the roller coasters move up and down, but also a roller coaster can move very what? Fast. So that's the difference. Ferris wheels are slow, roller coasters are fast. Okay? All right. Now, a motor moves the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel spins around in a large circle. People sit in the Ferris wheel cars. The Ferris wheel spins slowly. The cars move up toward the sky. They reach the top of the wheel. Then the cars move slowly back down, says Mr. Kinder. And it says, describe the motion of the Ferris wheel. So now what is the motion of the Ferris wheel? Think about it for a second. Do you remember? I know you do. All right. So what does it do? It spins slowly. Okay? It spins slowly. And I know you said that. You know what? I have a question for you. We need to go over it, okay? Or a comment. So if we look here at our Ferris wheel, it says here, a Ferris wheel spins around slowly in a circle, okay? And the Ferris wheel cars go up and down, okay? All right. Now, the Kinder family rides the Ferris wheel and gets off. I have fun riding the Ferris wheel, says Jim. I was scared at the top of the Ferris wheel, says Gwen. Okay. We have some extra time. How about we ride the merry-go-round next? It stays on the ground, says Mr. Kinder. Let's see what our focus question says. Okay, it says, why was Gwen scared when she rode the Ferris wheel? Why was she scared when she rode the Ferris wheel? Would you be scared to ride it? Okay. So now, why was she scared? She said, I was scared at the top of the Ferris wheel. You know, I've never ridden a Ferris wheel before, and I don't know, for some reason I always thought they went fast, but now I've learned something new. You see, teachers always are always learning. And I did not realize that they went slow. But I don't know if I would still ride on one day. I don't know, but I don't know if I would be scared because it goes slow. But what about you? What do you think? Would you be scared? Okay. All right. Okay, so now Gwen said she was scared riding the Ferris wheel because she was up so high. Now, Mr. Kennedy then says, how about we go to the merry-go-round next? It stays on the ground. And we kind of just talked about this, and it says, this is another question. How do you think Gwen feels about riding the merry-go-round? Now, we see here's Gwen. Look at her face. Let me make her bigger so you can see. Oh, there we are. Okay. Let me get it so I can make it bigger for you. Okay, so we see her face. Somebody's happy and she's not so happy. Okay. So now Gwen will probably like riding the merry-go-round because it stays where? Closer to the ground. Okay, closer to the ground. And I'm that person. I think I would like to ride a ride that stays closer to the ground as well. Okay, but you know what? There was a time when I would ride a roller coaster. I have ridden one in my lifetime, so, but not now. All right, let's move on. We're gonna make this smaller so we can move on. All right, so the Kennedy family gets on the merry-go-round. This ride moves slow like the Ferris wheel, says Gwen. That is right, says Mr. Kinder. The merry-go-round spins around in a small circle, but you stay close to the ground. The horses move up and down as the ride spins. So it says, describe the motion of the merry-go-round. How does the merry-go-round move? All right. Did you say up and down? If you did, you were right. Okay, that's exactly how it moves. All right, so now let's go to our next page. So the Kinder family gets off the merry-go-round. Okay, Jen sees another ride. It looks like a moving ship. Can we get on this ride? This ride looks like fun, says Jen. Sure, says Mr. Kinder. The Kinder family gets in line for the pirate ship ride. Okay. All right. So let's see what our focus question says. It says, what ride does Jen want to go on? Would you choose to go on this ride? So what ride does she want to go on? The pirate ship ride. Would you choose it? Once again, I wouldn't choose this one. I think I'm scared of this one. It looks fun, but you know what? That's the fun thing about going to an amusement park because you can decide what you want to do. It's so many choices and it's something for everybody. Okay. All right. So now the rides start moving slow. Then it moves faster, says Gwen. The pirate ship ride moves differently than the merry-go-round and the Ferris wheel, says Mr. Kinder. It doesn't spin around. The pirate ship ride moves back and forth. It moves from right to left and left to right. Okay? All right. So it says describe the motion of the pirate ship ride. So let's describe it. Now, did you say it starts slow and then it moves faster? And then what? What does it do next? It moves right to left and left to right. If you said any of those things, you were correct, okay? All right, so now I have another thought for you. And I want you to look at these angles here. Okay, you see how the pirate ride ship starts off slow. Okay, it starts off slow and then it moves faster. And we kind of talked about it. It swings back and forth. Okay. All right. So we can see that here in this picture. Okay, let's move forward. All right, so the Kendall family rides the pirate ship ride. We move a lot on the ride, says Gwen. Rides can move slow and fast. Rides can spin around or move back and forth. Now let's look at the map to see where we're going next, said Mr. Kinder. We are going to play some games. Where are they on their way to? To play some games, right? So right here we see it says describe different ways amusement park rides move. So tell me, so describe, here's our keyword means, it means what? It means to tell how something looks, right? So let's go and see if we can find some descriptive words. Hold on, let me move it down first. Let's see, make it smaller. Okay. And let's find some descriptive words. Okay. So we can see it says, how does the amusement park rides move? So they move what? Slow. They move how? Fast. Here's another descriptive word. They spin around. They move back and forth. You see that? Did you say any of those things? If you did, you were right, okay? All right. Wow, we had fun reading that, didn't we? We did a lot of work. So now let's do some more work, okay? We're going to talk about some things that you have learned in our chapter. Now listen to this. And I didn't forget this time. It says, I will describe how amusement park rides move. How do amusement park rides move? Let me pull up some pictures for you because I want you to be able to put to the screen. And I want you to, now here are some of our words that describe movement. So I want you to tell me how the amusement park rides move. You can point to one of the pictures, okay? So we have slow, fast, up, down, around, fun, spin. Point to one. I'm talking about these ones right here. So let me give you so you can see. Here, slow, fast, up, down, around, spin. How do the amusement park rides move? Did you say, if you pointed to one of these, you were right, because all of those rides moved in one of these ways, okay? You know, some of them were slow and some were fast, right? So if you pointed to these, any one of these, you were correct. Okay, let's move on to our question. It says, number one says, what is this chapter about? What is this chapter about? Okay. All right. A, rides. B, food. Or C, games. And I want you to make a choice, okay? And as always, we always use our story to answer questions, okay? We always use our story, but we'll sometimes use a strategy. So, for right now, we're going to use our story to help us find the answer, okay? So now what is this chapter all about? Did you say rides? Or we're going to the amusement park rides. See where it says amusement park rides move in different ways? It's already mentioned it more than one time, right? So this chapter must be about amusement park rides. Okay. Okay, what does the Ferris wheel do? What does the Ferris wheel do slowly? What does the Ferris wheel do slowly? A, sinks, B, jumps, or C, spins? What does it do slowly? A, B, or C? Make a choice. Okay, so what does the Ferris wheel do slowly? We see it right here. It spins, right? That's what it does slowly. It spins. Okay. All right. Okay. Number 3. How did Gwen feel riding the Ferris wheel? How did Gwen feel riding the Ferris wheel? A, scared, B, sleepy, or C, mad? How did she feel? Make a choice. Let's use that story. And whenever you're answering a question, so let me go back to someone show you this really quick. You see this, how does Gwen feel? You know we're going to go to the part of the story that talks about who? Gwen, okay? So I thought I want to point that out. All right. So here's a part that's talking about Gwen. And first it says here, I have fun riding the wheel. It says Jen. That's Jen, but that's Jen. That's not Gwen. Here we go. I was scared at the top of the Ferris wheel. It says Gwen. So how did she feel? Scared. Okay. I know you probably said something like that. Okay. All right. How did the merry-go-round move? How did the merry-go-round move? A, fast, B, slow, or C, still? How did the merry-go-round move? So you know in this question here, we're going to look at our story, and we're going to go to this section that talks about what? The merry-go-round, okay? And here it is. And our question says, how does the merry-go-round move? So let's see, how does it move? Do you remember? I know you said this ride moves how? Slow. Okay, you've been working hard, so stay with me. We have one more question that we're going to do. What is important to know about this chapter? What is important to know about this chapter? A, rides move in different ways. B, rides all move the same way. Or C, rides do not move. Now, in this particular question, we're going to use a strategy called process of elimination. So now let's just do that. Let's look at the first answer. It says ride move in different ways. Did we not read about that? How some rides spin, they move up and down. Some are fast, some are slow. So we can put an imaginary check here because that is true. But we're not going to mark it yet. We're going to go to our other choices. So we know we can keep this one, A. Now it says rides all move the same way. Well, I just said that. They move in different ways, right? So we know we can mark this one off or mark through it or put an X here. And C says rides do not move. Now we know that one is not true because if we went to an amusement park and the ride did not move, would we stay there? We would leave, right? So we know our answer must be A. So do Do you see how I use the process of elimination to get the right answer? All right, so I want you to use that strategy, but at the same time, I do still want you to continue to always use your story to help you come up with the answer. Listen, guys, I have enjoyed being with you today, and I hope that you have learned something about how rides move in the amusement park. Don't forget to put those topic words in alphabetical order, and look for any other additional links that I may add to this lesson that will help you understand the story even further. Please stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you again in the next video lesson. Hello, my name is Ms. Epps, and I'm coming to you today with another video lesson. And our video lesson is going to be on a book entitled Making Choices at the Gift Shop. Making Choices at the Gift Shop. Okay? And as always, before we begin our lesson, we always have to go over what? The lesson objective and the materials that you're going to need. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a picture of a gift shop. All right, so it says here, this is our lesson objective here, and it says, I will remember what the Kinder family chooses to buy at the gift shop. I will remember what the Kinder family chooses to buy at the gift shop. What are the materials that you're going to need? Paper, pencil, and a copy of today's story. Okay? And a copy of today's story is right under the video lesson. There's a link to the copy of today's story. And if I add any other additional materials, they will be there as well. Okay? So we have to remember what the Kinder family is going to buy at the gift shop. Okay? So I want you to be thinking about that as we go through our lesson today. Before we begin our story, you always know what we're going to do. We're going to go over those topic words first because I want you to be able to focus in on these words as we read the story. So what I want you to do is get your pencil and I want you to underline the words in the story. You can do this after we have finished reading the story. You can also use a highlighter to highlight the words because a good thing to do is to be able to define your words using the story, okay? And then you can go and get a dictionary and compare your definitions to the definitions you find in the dictionary. You can also put these words in alphabetical order. And hey, here's another great thing you can do. You can draw a picture of the words. Let's say if you choose the word scared, okay, and you could possibly draw a picture of something that looks scared, right? That can help you to remember the words. So that's a good thing to do too. These are all additional activities you can do once we finish reading the story, okay? All right, so let's go over the words. I want you to repeat the words after me. And don't forget to be on the lookout for them, okay? Our first word is choose, fun, scared, move, turn, up, down, fast, slow, around, gravity, spin, okay? Now, also too, you can start like a vocabulary journal with these words. Like you can get a notebook and put all of your words that you have learned from all of the wonderful lessons that have been taught to you and put them all in a book. And you can go back at any time and make sentences with those words. And your parent can help you make sentences, okay? All right, so that's another good activity you can do as well, okay? All right, so what we want to do before we start reading our story, we want to do an activity. And let's just take a look at our book cover here. Okay. We know the title of our story is called Making Choices at the Gift Shop. All right. So it says, what is the title of this chapter? So what is the title of this chapter? Did you say Making Choices at the Gift Shop? Because if you did, you were correct. Okay. All right. Making Choices at the Gift Shop. All right. What do you think this chapter will be about? Okay. I think, okay, it will be about buying things at a gift shop. Okay. Could be. We have to read and find out, right? Okay. So here we are. This is a chapter book. What kind of chapter book is this? Is it a fiction book or a nonfiction book? Now, I want you to think about these two types of books, okay? Now, a fiction book is what kind of book? Did you say it's a make-believe book or an imaginary book, a book that's not real? That's correct, if you did, okay? What kind of book is a nonfiction book? Did you say it's a book that's based on actual facts or something that is true, that really happened? Okay? If you did, you are correct. Most nonfiction books include charts, they include graphs, they have bold words in books that are nonfiction, and you can open that book anywhere and start reading. With a fiction book, you cannot do that. You have to start at the beginning. So let's take a look at our book, okay? And let's just walk through the pages. Now we see here that we have illustrations. Fiction books have illustrations in them, okay? All right, and we see another illustration. So this must be a what kind of book? A fiction book, okay? All right, what is the chapter topic? Is it biography, social studies, or science? What do you think? Now, it's all about buying things, right? Now, do we learn about buying things in science? So we know that it's not science. Is this book about one person? Because a biography is usually about one person. So if we go back over here and we look, we see one person here, but we see another person here. So it's not about just one person. So this must be a book that's centered around social studies, because in social studies we learn about buying things. All right. So it says here, compare this book to a chapter book that has been recently read. So when we compare things, what do? We talk about the similarity and the differences of things when we're comparing them, right? Okay. So I'm going to think about a book that I have recently read to give you an example. And then I want you can take the time on your notebook paper or your in your notebook or notepad or whatever you have that's handy, and think about a book that you've recently read. Okay. And then what you can possibly do is compare it to this book that we're going to read. Although we haven't read it, but we have looked at the book cover. Okay. All right. So I read a book about DNA in plants. Okay. This book is about buying, and it won't let me type any further. Okay. But this book is about buying things in a gift shop. Well, that's the difference. One book is about buying things, but the other book was about DNA and plants. Two different topics. Now, So that's what you're doing when you're comparing. Okay? All right. So now let's move on. It says, what kind of book would you choose? A picture book, a chapter book, a comic book, or a book with facts? Well, in this case, I would choose a chapter book because I like chapter books. Okay? Now you pick what you like. All right? So let's move on. Let's get ready to read our story. Now I want you to listen carefully because you will be answering some questions at the end of the story. Okay? And let's begin. All right, so the Kinder family starts walking to the gift shop. Each of us chose something different to do at the amusement park, says Mr. Kinder. People can choose different activities. Some activities may be fun for you. They might make someone else scared. People can like different things. Okay? So let's just take a look at our focus question at the bottom here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. It says, describe why people might choose to do different activities at the amusement park. So we know when we describe something, what do? We tell how it looks, how it feels. We're making a description. And then it says, describe why people choose different things. Okay? So if we can see right here, it says they might make someone else scared. People like different things. So people can choose different activities to do. Some might be fun for you and some might make some other people scared. Okay? So you see that? So that's the answer right there to those questions, okay? To that statement at the bottom there. All right. Move me right here. I went on the water slide, says Gwen. I thought it was fun. Jen liked the Ferris wheel, but I was scared riding the Ferris wheel. I didn't like being so high up in the air. I will go on a water slide again. I will not ride a Ferris wheel again. Okay, let's see what our focus question says. And it says here, how does Gwen feel on the water slide? How does she feel on the Ferris wheel? So we have to go to the part of the sentence that talks about the water slide and the Ferris wheel. Okay, so here's Gwen, and she says, I thought it was fun. So now Gwen says she went on the water slide. So how does she feel about the water slide? She said, I thought it was fun. How does she feel about the Ferris wheel? Now, here's Gwen right here. She says that Jen liked the Ferris wheel. Now, then Gwen makes a comment. She says, but I was scared riding the Ferris wheel. So now we see that Gwen said she thought it was fun to ride the water slide, but she was what? She was scared to ride the Ferris wheel. Okay? So when you're answering these type of questions, you have to be very careful to make sure that the right character is speaking. Okay? And that you're answering the question correctly. All right. All right, I have another statement to make about this page. That we know that Gwen feels scared, and then people can choose different activities when they go to an amusement park. Not everyone will like the same thing, okay? And that's very true. All right. All right. Now, I rode on the roller coaster, says Ben. It was fun. Gwen liked the water slide, but I was scared when I rode the water slide. I didn't like moving down the water slide so fast. I will ride a roller coaster again. I will not go on a water slide again. Okay? So let's see what our focus question says here at the bottom. Now, how did Ben feel on the roller coaster? How did he feel? And it says, how does he feel on the water slide? So we're looking for, whenever you're answering a question, you're looking for that keyword. You're looking for Ben and how he felt. So here's Ben. Now, what ride did he ride on? He says, I rode on what? The roller coaster. And how did he feel about it? He said it was fun. Now, we see here that Gwen liked the water slide. He says, but I was scared when I rode the water slide. Who's talking? Ben. So how does he feel about the roller coaster? He said it was fun. How did he feel about the water slide? He said he was what? He was scared. All right. Now, if we think about our previous page, page 50 here, Ben enjoyed riding a different ride than Gwen, right? Okay. Now, if we move on, we're going to move on to our next page, okay? So let's go to our next page. We're going to have another comment I want to make about this. But that's true in any case. Whenever you go to a place like this, there are so many rides. There are so many rides. I can remember going to Kings Dominion at one time. It was so many rides there. No, it was Disney World. And it's just so many rides, and everybody's not going to like the same rides. Okay? All right. So now the Kinder family arrives at the gift shop. They see different kinds of souvenirs to buy. There are colorful t-shirts, keychains, and magnets. Now it's time for everyone to choose a souvenir to buy, says Mrs. Kinder. Souvenirs can help us remember what we did on our trip. So now they're at the gift shop. Now let's think about our objective, right? What was our objective? I will remember what the Kinder family chooses to buy at the gift shop. Okay? All right. So let's make our focus statement here a little bit bigger at the bottom so we can see what it wants us to do. It says, why will the Kinders buy souvenirs at the gift shop? Now, did you say souvenirs can help us remember what we did on our trip? And that's very true. Every time I go on a trip, I always look for a refrigerator magnet because I love refrigerator magnet. It's my way of remembering where I went and what I did. They are so fun, okay? And I'll even ask family members and friends if they're going to a place that I have never gone to, bring me a magnet back because it helps me to learn about a new place and it adds to my collection. I love it. Okay. All right, so let's go on. It says, pick a souvenir to help you remember what you like doing today, says Mrs. Kinder. I choose a t-shirt, says Gwen. I remember how the water rides move. I move fast down the water slide. I move slowly floating on a tube in the water. Okay? So let's make it a little bit bigger. And it says here, what will Gwen remember about how she moved on the water rides? What will she remember? What did she say? She says, here's the section that talks about the water rides. And she says, I will remember I moved how fast down the water slide. I moved slowly floating on a tube in the water. Okay? If you said that, you were correct. Okay, I choose a roller coaster keychain, says Ben. It will help me remember how roller coasters move. They move slow up hills. They move fast down hills. Roller coasters turn and go around loops. Gravity helps roller coasters move. Okay, so let's see what our focus statement or question says. It says, what will Ben remember about how roller coasters moved? How do they move? What did he say? He says they move what? Fast down hills. What do? They turn and go around in loops. Okay? If you said something like that, you were correct. We're answering a lot of questions, aren't we? And I know you're doing a great job. Okay. So it says here, I choose a Ferris wheel magnet, says Jen. I want to remember how the Ferris wheel spins around in a circle. You slowly move up until you get to the top. Then you slowly move back down to the ground. Those are great souvenirs, says Mrs. Kinder. She pays for the items. Okay, let's see what our focus question says. What would Jim remember about how the Ferris wheel moved? How did it move? Okay, how did it move? She says, you move slowly up, right? See, she's talking about the Ferris wheel. There it is. She said you move slowly up and then you move slowly back down to the ground. Okay? Okay, we learned a lot today, says Mr. Kinder. People can choose different activities to do. People and things move at the amusement park. Yes, there's a lot of movement, right? They move fast and slow. They move up, down, and spin around. Objects can move back and forth or straight. Now, let's go home. I'm tired. All right. Okay, let's see what that focus question says at the bottom. And it says, what was your favorite activity that the Kinder family did in this book? What was your favorite activity? And then you tell why. Okay, so I'm going to pick one. Oh, let me move back. Let me move back. Okay. And you know, I guess the favorite activity that I like was the fact that, this store was all centered around them making choices at the gift shop. And if you have ever been at a gift shop, it is a wonderful place to go because you can see so many things that you won't see anywhere else. You see a lot of unique things, okay? So I guess my favorite part of the store was the actual part of them going to the souvenir shop. But you may have liked the way they remembered their trip and what they did. That's excellent too if you chose that as well. Or you may have come up with something totally different, okay? But make sure it relates to our story, okay? All right, so let's get ready to put our thinking caps on because we're going to get ready to answer some questions, okay? Let's get our story back to the beginning. Okay, so the first activity we're going to do is a fill-in activity. And whenever you're doing a fill-in-the-blank activity, you always want to remember that whatever word you put in the blank, it has to make sense. And here's our blank right here, okay? So you want to make sure that whatever word you put here, it makes sense in the sentence, okay? It may fit there, but does it make sense? That's the important thing to remember. So what you're going to do whenever we are working with questions, even if I don't tell you this, I always want you to make a choice because you can always pause the screen and say, Mom or Dad or whoever's sitting with you, I need to make a choice in case if I forget to tell you, okay? All right, so let's read our first statement here. It says, people can blank different things. Down, spinning, amusement park, roller coaster, like. Make a choice. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our story to help us find the answer. And we see here that we see the Kenneth family, they start walking to the gift shop, right? And we see right here that people can do what? Like different things. Okay? So our key word to look for was people, because that's what our one of our that was one of our focus words in the question. So we're going to put like there. Okay? Number 2 says Gwen liked moving fast. Blank the water slides. Let's see what our choices are. Down, spinning, amusement park, roller coaster, like. Make a choice. We're looking for the part that talks about Gwen and what she liked doing. Here's Gwen, and what did she like doing? She liked the water slide. How does it move? Down. Okay. Okay, so now Ben liked the turns and loops on the spinning, amusement park, roller coaster, like. Make a choice. We know that if you look and see at my arrow, you see that we're going to the part of the story that talks about who? Ben, and what he liked. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So here we have Ben, okay, and what did he choose? He chose the what? The roller coaster. Okay? Did you make that decision? If you did, you were correct. All right, so Jen liked something here, and that's our blank, and a circle on the Ferris wheel. Let's see what our choices are. Down, spinning, amusement park, roller coaster, like. Make a choice. Now don't forget, we have to go to the part of the store that talks about who, Jen, and what she liked. Okay? So let's do that. Now here we find Jen. And what did she like? She says here, she says, I will remember how the Ferris wheel does what? Spins. Okay? So Jen likes spinning in a circle on the Ferris wheel. Okay. All right. Number 5 says people and objects move at the down, amusement park, roller coaster, like. Make a choice. So once again, we're going to go back to our story, right? And we talk about it right here. And it says people and things move at the what? Amusement park. Because that was our, here's our choice right here. All right. I have enjoyed being with you today. I hope that you have fun learning about how people make choices and the importance of going to a gift shop if you are able to go away and take some time to visit a new place. At some point, we will when it's safer to do so. But the main thing I want you to remember today is whenever you are answering your questions, please do not forget to look for the keywords in the question, okay? And go to that section in your story, okay, to help you find the answer. All right. Don't forget all the suggestions I made about different activities you can do when we actually finish our lesson. Don't forget to do those. I don't want you to not remember those words. Okay. So don't forget to look up those words or circle them in the story or put them in alphabetical order or put them in a sentence. There's so many things you can do. I've enjoyed being with you today. I want you to stay happy, stay healthy. And I'll see you again in the next video lesson.